Moss plants, they can be a great alternative to grass for lawns in the shade. And joining us now to share some tips on how to grow great moss, Master Gardener Ed Sourdiffe. Ed, thanks for joining us today.
It's good to be here.
We were feeling this earlier. You can walk on this, and it is an alternative to a lawn.
Yes, yes. Moss is a great thing. It's a primitive plant. It's one of the first plants that colonize the earth, and it's really resilient. And it really, people try to get rid of it, but you really should try to think about utilizing it in your yard. Great for shady spots, moist spots, places that under trees that grass just doesn't want to grow. So it's a really good thing.
Grass is kind of one of those things, though, that you set it and forget it. Moss, does it require extra care and love?
Well, actually, lawns, you don't really set and forget that much. I mean, people
Good
are
thing
always...
I'm not a homeowner.
Yeah. You're out there liming it, you're out there fertilizing it, you're out there mowing it all the time. Moss is a lot more forgiving. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You don't want to fertilize it. It wouldn't like that. You're not going to lime it. That would kill it. And it doesn't need anything, but maybe it could use some water now and then just to keep it looking lush.
It feels great, though. I mean, I can only imagine, taking my shoes off and walking in this.
Yeah, this is the best thing to walk on. Much softer than the lawn. It works great, like I said, under trees, everywhere. You can actually, the great thing about moss is you can actually use it for decorating areas around. Say you build a stone wall, you're going to take pieces of the moss and you would just break it up and put the chunks into areas of the stone, and it'll look like it was there forever. So that's a great thing.
And will it eventually start growing out?
Yeah, it will. It will definitely grow out. It can actually take a surprising amount of sun. It's great for even drought situations, because the only thing that will happen is that it'll go dormant, and then once it gets watered again, it'll come right back. So it will not die out on you.
That's not bad at all. Now, my big question, though, is why is there a blender here today?
Well, we brought the blender here today to show you how you can actually use it to make more moss. Say you want to have a place under the trees and you want to grow a big moss garden there. You would use this to actually make more. And what you would do is you would take moss like this. You can see actually moss comes in a variety of colors. This is a nice light green, then you get the darker greens, and you even get like more of a club moss that looks like little pine trees here, so that's kind of cool. But what you would do with any kind of moss that you wanted to make more of, you would take about, what we have here is yogurt, and then we have the moss.
And you can also use buttermilk if you don't have yogurt, is that right?
Yes, yes, correct. So you would take about, if you want to scoop out about 2 cups of yogurt.
2 cups of plain yogurt. Huh. Now, I wonder what the yogurt does in terms of helping the moss multiply.
Well, it will act as a place for the moss when we ground it up to be suspended in. It'll have a little bit of nutrients. It'll act like a...
It's kind of like a glue also?
Yeah, it'll act like a glue also. Here, if you give me one
now,
more.
So, another cup?
Yeah, we're going to do 2 of those to about a cup's worth of, if you want to put that in, a cup worth of moss. Now, if you're going to try to put your moss on, say, terracotta or a rock, it's probably best to get moss that you found growing on a rock. So it's already naturally. This one actually was growing on a rock. There's no soil there, just the soil I had in there. So it's predisposed to be the plant that actually wants to grow on a surface like that.
And so it seems like then, yeah, moss is pretty easy. It can grow on a number of surfaces. It doesn't need a large depth of soil.
No, it doesn't really need any soil. It will actually grow, like I said, on rocks itself. So then we'll put this in here.
Looks like one wild smoothie so far they're about to whip up.
Yeah, I don't think you want to eat it.
No. And you can use, I see now you're using a different kind of moss.
Yeah.
You can mix and match?
Yeah, if you want to see which one will do the best, you can mix it up a bit like that. And
now we're going to blend the moss.
Yeah, we're going to attempt to blend. No, I haven't used your blender.
It's a little tricky. Here we go.
Okay.
Now we've fixed our problem.
That's probably good. Okay.
There we go. Okay, good.
That seems to work.
We got to get our blender checked out, I think.
It actually looks like a nice dip.
Yeah. Oh.
So now what we'll do is, let's see. Yeah, it's a good consistency.
A paint consistency?
Yeah, it's not too thin, too thick. If it was too thick, you could add just a little bit of water to that and then blend it up again. But this seems to be just about perfect. So what I'll have you do, I have terracotta here. Now, with all terracotta, even if you're going to use it just to put your plants in, you want to soak it first because it came from a kiln, it's really dry, it will actually wick moisture away from your plants. So same thing when you're going to try to be planting it with the moss here.
So you just wet it?
Yeah, I wet it first. It got all soaked in. And
then you just paint on?
Yeah, just paint it on. Just like, and you can see it's pretty easy. You'll paint the whole thing. And what this will do, this will actually age the pot for you. And you can actually go out and buy pots like this that have been aged, and it'll cost you a lot more money.
Now, will moss grow on the pots?
Yes, it will actually grow on the pots. Actually, you would put this in a shady, moist area, leave it there for about 6 weeks, you'll get moss. You might get a little mold at first because this is a dairy product, but the moss will take over and it won't be a problem. So this whole thing will just be filled with a nice mossy
That's gorgeous.
thing. Yeah, it is. It will be a nice thing.
And now I assume you can do it on something like this too. It's a little bit of porous rock.
Yeah, this is actually like a lava type of stone, and I actually brought that in because moss is a great thing to do with like a Japanese or Asian garden if you want to try that. And there's a lot of things online to show you examples of that, and that's a good mix with that too.
Well, Ed, thank you so much for stopping by today. And if you want to view these tips, just head to mymassappeal.com a little bit later today.